Yesterday, I finally felt ready to tackle this deck list again from the regional championship in Taiwan that was won by Rocky Lin, and it was the Flash Soldier list that ended up taking it. And I made a lot of modifications since then by testing it on ladder, figuring out what cards were too clunky to have in the main deck that I moved to the sideboard, and what cards I specifically wanted to bring into the main deck to kind of smooth out the consistency. And this is what I ended on right now. In the original list, there was only one Destroy Evil in the main deck as a removal. There were three Wandering Emperors, and there were three Denics. I think that is the only change. And there was a Make Disappear in the main deck as well. So what I did is I added two Lantern Flares, one instead of the Destroy Evil, one instead of the Make Disappear, because I felt like when you were on the draw, it felt incredibly tough to play against Thalia decks and things that are proactive, like mostly Esper Legends. I felt like the Esper Legends matchup was really tough, and you'll see later in the video, I ended up playing against an Esper Legends deck, and this is where I really started to fundamentally change the main deck a little bit in the direction to have a better main deck matchup against Esper Legends, because the original list of soldiers, the non-flash version, actually has a good matchup against Esper because they don't have sweepers in the main deck, and they're playing like 4 Brutal Cathar, they have an easier time managing the creatures, and they don't get as they don't have any problems dealing with a card like Thalia. Whilst in this deck, you have non-creature spells, you have 3 Wandering Emperors at first, and when they play Thalion 2, suddenly, well, you don't really have tools to, you know, easily push out a lot of board presence. You have to like try to hold up the counter spell for 3, and then you can't even get the kicker. The Wandering Emperor costs 5, which on the draw is completely unfathomable. You will lose the game before you can cast this against Esper Legends. So that's the main matchup that really pushed me to make changes, and adapt to that deck specifically. So I cut one Denic and I added a Brutal Cathar, and I cut one Emperor and I added a Brutal Cathar. So we have 2 Cathars, 2 Lantern Flares as the new additions. I might want to lean even harder into this, although I haven't found which cards I would want to move around, but I'm definitely thinking that the card Wandering Emperor itself is maybe better suited to be brought in from the sideboard because of the fact that there are some Thalia decks, and those really, really hurt the viability of Wandering Emperor, I think. But 2 seems like an okay number, and I'm kind of okay with that. Again, you also have to keep in mind that this deck has 24 lands. I have not touched that yet, even though I mentioned that I might want 25. I'm still in testing. And what I would do is add an Eiganjo, basically, as my 25th land. So that might happen, that might not. But for now, I haven't had major problems. I have had a few one-landers that were pretty rough. And in those situations, I know I would much rather have the extra chance of finding a land, but those aren't too common, so... The reason I cut a Denic was because Denic itself is not very good against Esper Legends. It's mostly good against Grixis and Mono Red, but even against Grixis, it does kind of die to everything anyways. So it's not a huge deal to lose this against Grixis. The bigger deal is losing this against Mono Red, obviously. And a card that I also wasn't sure if I should have 4 or 3 or, 3 and 1 is Harbin, a card that sometimes I had 2 in hand, and I was, not too happy about that, but this card is just way too strong in almost every situation. If it's on the board, it's dealing 3 damage. And if you have a board stall, it's the card that allows you to win. So it feels incredibly difficult to justify not playing 4. I'm still not sure if I'm supposed to be on 3 or 4. Even though I know it would add a level of consistency of, not drawing double Harbin to have like an extra Brutal Cathar or something. But yeah, that's to be tested still. Another change was in the sideboard, we have a Laurent's Escape instead of... I don't remember. I actually don't remember what I cut this for, but I was considering having another counter spell. And I realized that it could have been Spell Pierce. I was considering Spell Pierce. And then I realized that, Spell Pierce most of the time, unless it's used against a sweeper deck, is going to be used to protect something. Or, sometimes it counters Fable, but the problem is the viability of Spell Pierce in the mid game is incredibly low, I think. Especially against Grixis, where, they have Brothers End. Sure, you might be able to get the Brotherhood's End on turn 3, but on turn 5, that's no longer the case. And this is where Laurent's Escape is much better against other spot removal spells that you might want to counter to protect very key cards, that being Skystrike Officer, the Harbin, the Veteran, sometimes the Denic, and Brutal Cathar if you happen to board it in against other decks like Esper, for example. So I figured playing a protection spell is probably valuable, and the Spell Pierce was there for potential sweepers, and this does give a creature indestructible. So in a way, it still has some viability against sweepers. I'm not playing the phase out one because most of these creatures want to be in play. They do not want to leave the battlefield temporarily, especially not Brutal Cathar or stuff like that. Actually, does Brutal Cathar keep the creature until this creature leaves the battlefield? Actually, I don't know. I actually don't know how that works. But either way, even if it remained under, I don't think it would matter. Like, I want the creature like Harbin and Skystrike Officer to remain on the battlefield. That's the important thing. Same thing for Valiant Veteran. That's why we have Laurent's Escape. And I don't want the blue untap one because it doesn't scry, and I don't care about the stats, I think. 2 Destroy Evil, there were 4 in the original list, but I don't feel like Destroy Evil is that good. Mostly because it's a little bit too narrow, and Soldiers as a deck, I think, wants to be able to remove anything. It doesn't want any creatures to like pressure your life total. So like, for example, if you're playing against a deck that has 3/3s, or even against Legends, their early game has a lot of 2/3s. It's got the Skrelv as well, which completely neutralizes your Destroy Evil to begin with. And this can only hit Rafine, Shieldred, Adeline. So you're already restricting yourself. It kind of slows down your early game. So this will be more useful in the mid to late game. But at that point, I feel like, you're already, I don't know, it's still useful, but I feel like Lantern Flare has more value. Essentially, that's what I'm getting at. I feel like if I was going to play 4 Destroy Evil, I would first play 4 Lantern Flare. And then, I probably won't end up playing 4 Destroy Evil, but I would stock up on Lantern Flare first because of the flexibility, and then I would lean towards Destroy Evil, because really the only thing this is hitting, I think, where Lantern Flare would not be able to kill would be Rafine and would be Shieldred. Well, Rafine early game and Shieldred early game as well. So mostly those 2 cards I think can be a problem. But yeah, especially if you're combining those with Brutal Cathars, I feel like you have enough ways to deal with big creatures that it's probably fine to not play more than 2. I am considering a third one still because, Esper Legends is one of the main competitors for this list. I think it's one of the hardest matchups. Depending on play draw, you can fall behind too quickly, so you need a lot of removal to stock up. So I'm definitely considering like maybe cutting a Welcome or something. I haven't really found any use for it yet. This card definitely does not feel great. It's respecting control decks, but I don't know. I didn't find myself. It's good against Grixis. That's the main thing, I think. But even against Grixis, I'm not necessarily sure it's better than a card like Wandering Emperor, for example. I don't know. It's fine. It's just slow. Like on the draw, you cannot play this because they have Invoke still. They still have Invoke, and you have no other enchantments to, not sack Welcome. So if you're on the draw, you play turn 3. They play like Shieldred, and then they play Invoke. I mean, maybe you're drawing like what, 2 cards, but they still get rid of it afterwards, and you didn't develop, so you're not anywhere close to winning the game. But you did draw 2 cards, but they draw way better than you. So even against Grixis, I wouldn't say it's that good. You have to rely on your creatures and your tempo game plan rather than the card advantage against Grixis, because they simply have more than you do overall. And they have better removal, they have better sweepers, so you're not going to fight them in the late game. You have to fight them in the early game. So I don't know. I feel like if I was going to cut Welcome from the deck entirely, I would maybe play Wedding Announcement instead, or I would play like 2 Wedding Announcement, cut a Welcome, play another Destroy Evil, maybe something around those lines. I think Wedding Announcement is just better because it does give you board presence, and that's the difference. Is that, yeah, it loses to Invoke, right? Like the Invoke will kill the Wedding Announcement, but it would have had generated, multiple bodies or drawn you 2 cards as well. So you're also potentially drawing cards, but you're also getting some board presence that allows you to play around Invoke itself. But that's something I still haven't tested yet. This is still the early stages. I'm happy with the rest. And yeah, that's about all I want to say about this deck. I hope you enjoyed the matches. Okay. Oh, I'm already very happy with the extra land, potentially. Very happy to be on the play. What should I play first to give away the least amount of information? Probably this. They won't know if I'm playing like Esper, Blue-White Control maybe. I hope they don't have a... Okay, they don't. Okay, good. Alright. Okay, still no removal, so we'll just slam Sky Strike. I think this is a very good matchup though. Mono black doesn't seem to have the tools to deal with soldiers. At least not necessarily. Interesting. I should attack with both. I don't think they'll block either way. If they do, that's fine too. So what I want to do here is set up either both of these or Wandering Emperor. Yeah. Yeah, see what cutting a Harbin here is definitely interesting, right? I wonder if it's actually correct to cast this, but it is a flyer though. Let's go with the draw first. Okay. Well, that validates my play. Do I want an extra land? Probably not. Holding this out doesn't accomplish that much though, when I could just play another flyer here. Although I probably do want to hold this up. Stop them from life leaking. So maybe I just don't play this. Oh no, I could use the 6 mana. I should play it. Yeah, that's a major point. That I'm getting close to activating the beachhead, so. The utility is not worth it compared to the potential activation. Or actually the very likely activation of beachhead. And if they do have Invoke in this way, they would draw one less card, so they would also gain less HP from the Invoke and Shield Red. So we should be good here. Just looking for land. Well, I guess they're dead on board, right? Or not? Well, now they are. I think they were... Wait. Yeah, they were dead on board. Now they're very, very dead on board. Okay. This is definitely a good matchup for me. Now I still have to worry about some sweepers. that might come in here. Also have to think about the main thing with sideboarding with this deck is that to board in removal you have to cut creatures because you're probably not cutting counter magic. So it does make things. Oh, I forgot to board in the second. Oh, I forgot to play the second Lantern Flare. Whoops. Okay, well, I'll have to add one. I have a second Lantern Flare, but I think I accidentally swapped it for Destroyable. Well, that's unfortunate. Denick. I do think Denick is worth something in this matchup. How do you... I don't... Oh, I didn't make the changes. Whoops. Oh, I was changing the other list. This is just the baseline list. Whoops. I'm playing the wrong list. Okay. So I don't think in this matchup... Hmm. Every card seems good, but some of them are going to have to leave for sure. I don't think Destroyable hits anything almost, other than exactly Shield Red, so most likely not worth it. Cathar plays pretty hard into sweepers, so don't feel comfortable playing it either. Maybe I just leave it and just end up not playing many removal spells at all, which might be a potential problem. I think I'll end up cutting a counter spell for another one just in case. Make sure Shield Red doesn't kill me at least. Because I have Wandering Emperors, I can deal with any creature attacking, but I can't deal with Shield Red just sitting there. Especially if they manage to sweep me, which they're most likely for sure playing at least 2 sweepers. I couldn't imagine them not having a few at least. Yeah, I would have a Spell Pierce if I was playing the other list. It's my bad. That proves that this deck list does work, even without the changes I was planning on making. So strong start. Hmm. This is difficult. I think this deck does not work that well from behind. I didn't know they were playing Sleeper, otherwise I probably would have considered Cathar a little bit more. Some decks don't play Sleeper. Okay, so that shows me that they do not want to activate, which means they're looking to play a 3-drop. I'm falling behind way too fast. Okay, I'll go with that just because I kind of need to draw something. This is where having more Lantern Flares. I'm starting to see. So for this matchup, Lantern Flare is fantastic. And not having 2 or 3 copies does hurt quite a bit. Okay. So they don't have removal? It could be interesting. I'm relatively close to swinging. The problem is the Flesh Gorger is very, very strong here. Okay. That is Potentially a way of dealing with Flesh Forger. I probably should have played that. I was considering not playing it because eventually I'm gonna need to do 2 and 2, and I don't want to take damage, obviously. If I had a Wandering Emperor here, it would definitely do a lot of work. I think I'm gonna have to start jumping, unfortunately. Actually, you know what? Maybe Siege Veteran was something I should have considered because they haven't been removing anything, so maybe they just don't have removal. In that case, I could have gotten a huge board boost. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chump one of these, right? Or do I just double block? Force them to activate? That might be worth it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. And if they give me, if they don't do anything here, okay, if they do that, I'll just kill Sleeper. And unfortunately, we'll leave the Flesh Gorger in play, but it does kind of pass their turn, and I do get rid of one Sleeper, so in a way, I find this to be okay. Ooh, that's kind of unfortunate. I should have drawn first. Yeah, I should have drawn first. It's my bad. But now we have this. Very, very strong play. I can take another 3 from that, so I should just full swing. And maybe even get a beachhead next turn. Yeah, I should have drawn first, because that would have been a much better usage of Destroy Evil. But I still feel like I'm in a good spot, because Double Veteran is pushing my creatures out of sweeper range for the -2. I think this should be a game here. I either draw a land or they have to kill 2 things, which, you know, they haven't shown removal yet. Everything's out of range of cut down. Yeah, that might do it, but I don't think so. Oh no, everything gains flying, so no, it would not do it. It's the power. The power of Arbin. The ultimate power. Pretty good. If I had another flare or 2, would be even better. Alright, this is really good. I'm on the draw, right? Yeah. Really unfortunate. This hand would be extremely powerful on the play, especially with one more land. Eat the fish. Grixis. No. Blue, black, toxic. I don't know. I feel like this is okay. Unless they're running a bunch of sweepers. Their mana base is very scuffed, so yeah. I feel like they just have to play that, right? I just play 2/1 drops. More board presence, more damage, less vulnerable to removal, and it can hold up the counterspell more efficiently if they choose to do so. Like if they choose to pass and hold up removal or something, or counterspell, I can do the same. Or they can just kill something. Okay, if I find a land, we are in a fantastic spot. But we didn't. I'm not sure I can actually race. I should be able to, but it is a bit scary if they find like back-to-back-to-back counter magic. It could just flare. But I think I would rather they counter this. Kind of need to hold the flare eventually. Have to use it. There we go. Play this, hold up counter and removal. That's fine. We'll not bother counting that since that's not removal. Yeah, this deck is just this can't be a good matchup for them. Too many creatures. And I have counter magic. Too low of a curve. But yeah, in general, this deck kind of sucks. At least I get to showcase how bad this deck is. In case any of you are looking to potentially play it. Hopefully that deters you from doing so. It's kind of interesting in a way. I feel like Togasa's Welcome is not good on the draw. It depends. Basically, it depends entirely on their hand and how. Yeah, it depends entirely on their hand. If they have a creature heavy hand, then Welcome is only a downside for me because I'm not generating board presence, which means I'm taking more poison. If they have a removal heavy hand, it could be good, but I can't just draw forever. The poison ticks add up quickly. Oh, also they're playing Serum Snare, so never mind. Yeah, I can't rely on that. Spell Pierce though? Do I have a Spell Pierce? No, I do not. I cut the Spell Pierce. Make, disappear, or flare. It's probably just I probably just run the same. Maybe I just cut a Harbin because it's legendary. Yeah, I maybe on the play I'll consider Welcome, but I feel like with Serum Snare, with every one of their removal spells, draw spells, putting one poison counter on me, I don't have time. Like I'll just die because I'm not gonna die to damage. So, but the poison is like 2 times as fast. Yeah, no 1-drop. That's one of the main downsides of this deck is I don't have a 1-drop. Which means that if they have a 1-drop, ooh, this is not good. Especially if they have a removal here. Yeah, they can have actually I don't actually know if this is a bad matchup for them. Actually, I feel like it's kind of okay if they're running the rat as well. Depending on the list. I think against the flash list, it's probably actually a good matchup for them. And then against the regular soldier list, I'm not sure. Is mana efficiency the name of the game here? Probably. Oh, then I should have cast this, but I should have played this land. Yeah, if they have a fast start against my deck with limited amount of 1-drops, they probably win. Yeah, this game's over. Okay, well, that was... I know I'm contextualizing the matchup a little bit more. I thought it was really good for me until that happened. Now I'm pretty sure it's actually good for them. I didn't realize they were running the rat and the proxy. I thought they were just running more controlling build. I definitely can't play that. Wonder if that means I just play Cathar instead of Flare because it's proactive. Wish I had more 1-drops. This might be tough. The proxy is really bad for me too. I'm feeling the potential of this deck against soldiers. See how it does on the draw. If it beats soldiers on the draw too, then it's interesting for sure. Okay, but they don't have a 1-drop, so most of their deck seems to rely around the 1-drop, I would say. Okay. So is that getting removed or no? Poison counter. Gotcha. Oopsie, what am I doing? Why am I tapping for colorless? Now, question. Denic or Harbin? Oh wait, does Proxy need to choose a card? I'm scared of the -2/-2. But I feel like they would be playing Path of Peril instead. No, yeah, they would be playing Path of Peril instead. In that case, I might want to play Harbin. Any reason to pass here? Probably not. I have an opportunity to develop something. Could be Denic though. I'm not sure. I think it's Denic. It does stall Proxy eventually, so having it on the board now is probably better. Yeah, and it plays on the -2/-2 if they have it, because that would just decimate my board immediately. So, unfortunate. But, not much to do about it. That's really good though. It's unfortunate I can't really keep that 1/1 on the battlefield though. Alright, my board state is okay. I can't really survive another path though. So, hope they don't have it. They just have spot removal, we're good. Yeah, I'll just cast this as a 2/1. I think that's okay. Wonder if trading the Harbin there is actually worth it though. Could have traded it, essentially gaining 2 damage and losing the Harbin. That was definitely a consideration. Not sure what I should have done. I have to play into Path of Peril. It is what it is. They top deck it. They didn't have it last turn, so they top deck it. They top deck it. Top 3 cards can't beat Path. Yeah, their matchup is better than I thought it would be. Just because I won so heavily game 1, I thought it was actually good for me. But they have better removal, and they have a sweeper integrated into the deck. Yeah, I would swing out here, right? I did theoretically miss some damage. And I think that's going to be a big mistake. Oh, that's kind of an interesting interaction. Not that I could play around it. Taking 2 damage there is rough for them. It's an interesting play. Now I feel like I'm incentivized to activate Mirax. But I probably should. I don't think the extra soldier matters as much as like board presence immediately. Interesting. I don't know if trading the Voidwing hybrid actually makes any sense here. I'll trade this for this, but I don't think trading the hybrid for my officer is worthwhile. Oh, I should have activated actually. No, I was... Am I planning on doing this? Yeah, I think so. But why? The question is, why would I do that? It just gets blocked by the hybrid anyways. I don't think I do that. I either activate or I make... I should make a Mirax token. At this point, they're so low that it plays better around Path of Peril too. Just Mirax every turn, pretty much. At this point, if I could put them to 1, I just need Mirax to win. And even drawing lands is fine. This was a more interesting matchup than I thought it would be. It does feel pretty tough on my side. Because they have a recurring flyer, so I can't really attack with my flyers. With Harbin, I mean, and Zephyr Sentinel. They have cheap removal, cheap sweeper, good card advantage. This might be their only good matchup, really. I think the deck is okay against Grixis too, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, if they have the 1-drop, it's... Yeah, they definitely have a good matchup into soldiers, and it gets better and better. Yeah, their win rate goes way up if they have the one drop. Although, to be fair, I'm talking about this specific build of soldiers because the Thalia build, I think, crushes this. Thalia completely shuts down the Skull Dweller. The tax is pretty brutal sometimes because this deck doesn't play that many lands. Okay, so yeah, they were just roping on that. They're just roping because they didn't have anything. How long was that match? Wonder if I have enough footage. I can play another one. I kind of like this deck. Maybe I had a relevant matchup. Oh. I think this is a keep double veteran hand. I'm on the draw. I have to kind of power through. I could have kept a two-lander. No. Okay. That sucks. Okay, this is not good, but I draw Sky Strike Officer. The fact that I drew another Wandering Emperor against Thalia on the draw is not fun. It's kind of a nightmare situation, really. Tax, Ward, Ludwig. The good news is they're on 3. But I can't really use this. I think my plan here is to just... I have no plan. I'm gonna be honest, I have no plan. Nope, I have no plan. It's over. They can just solo in with that. I have no way of interacting with it ever. And I don't have the speed to compete with it. I don't have Carbon. I don't have Beach. Yeah, I need, if I maybe if I found another soldier there. Yeah, as expected, this build is not good against Rafine game 1. In fact, I would say it's terrible. Yeah, Wandering Emperor in this matchup, not good. Destroy Evil. Destroy Evil's okay, but at the same time, I can't run that much removal. Or is it counter magic that has to go? It could be counter magic. I don't think counter magic is worth that much in this matchup. Most of the time, you just remove. I'll run one though. It's definitely useful. I think it's worse than everything else for the most part. I could also see Denik just being cut for counterspell. Post-board it gets better. Also, Zephyr Sentinel is not fantastic in this matchup either. Maybe this should have been counter magic. I mean, I would rather have counter magic than this here. Well, I'm on a time limit for land here. Gonna have to come pretty quickly. Although they have no removal. Since they don't have removal, I'm going in. Hmm. This is a really interesting turn. Well, I mean, let's start off with the basics here. But I have a few options. And I'm curious as to which one I should take here. So, I can try to take Rafine. And if they protect it, they lose life, right? Or I can just take the Might, but taking the Might... So, I'm playing around... There's really only one thing I should be playing around here, and it's Shield Red. And if they have Shield Red, they can attack with Rafine and Scrub. No, they can attack with Rafine, they would gain 2, so they gain the health back. But if I take the Might, they can still do that. Which means I should probably just take the Rafine. But I should have done that pre-combat. Because now they might not protect it. But I made a mistake. I was thinking a little bit too much. Should have done that pre-combat. Now I don't. I'm not sure they would protect it here. Which I guess in a way is still fine. What if they have a sweeper? I don't know. I can't play around sweeper. Okay. That's fine. Basically, I'm saying that I don't value the might as highly as 2 damage. Which may or may not be correct. Okay, so they're digging for sweeper. Which I guess makes sense. I wonder what kind of sweeper they could be playing. So Depop. I didn't need a block there. I don't know what I was. I don't know what block that. I was playing that could have played into the -2/-2 there. So should not block. But I don't know. I felt like they didn't have it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Zephyr Sentinel. I'm really not. especially on the draw. I feel like the flyer is good. I won't deny that. The flyer is good. But it's also, once they have Rafine, I don't really get to do much with it. Well, the counter spell, if they don't have Thalia, it's going to be fantastic. If they do have Thalia, it might still be fine. Like, the goal in the end is to counter the mid-game spells like Shield Red, stuff like that. Maybe I'll go... I do think Denick is kind of whatever. I mean, the life gain is nice in some situations. But I'd never want to draw two, I think. The first one would probably not die. What's better, Zephyr Sentinel? I mean, the good thing about Denick is that it would block the 2/3s without the Rafine. So in a way, on the draw, it makes more sense to do it like this, probably. Okay, let's do this. Essentially, they have to have sweepers, so I have to assume they have sweepers. I mean, like, to win, I think ideally they would need a sweeper, so I have to assume they have that in their deck, which means I need to play counter magic to some extent. No one drop, that's huge. Ludwig is fine. And I have a decent hand. Zephyr Sentinel's gonna be good here. So to hope they don't have Rafine for the third game in a row. I don't think they do. Okay, the reason I took two there is that I don't want to show them that I have a Zephyr Sentinel, and I want them to think about Counterspell. This is a very interesting turn. So I want to develop this, but it's so vulnerable to removal. And then it's very mana inefficient the next turn. Okay, they don't have interaction at least. I'm definitely gonna block, so fine. If they don't have cut down, I'm willing to put this at risk. Because it would generate so much value for me if it doesn't get answered. Yeah, that's okay. Interesting. I wish I'd counter magic now. But I do have Lantern Flare just in case. Not too happy to see that. Yeah, I can no longer not play that. Wish I had one more creature, but I have to get rid of the lifelinker now. It's a race. Ugh. I have to hope that I find one more creature here to nuke that. Cut off most of their damage. Okay. I really, really need it now. Please. Oh, that's unfortunate. Even a land would have been better than that. I think it's over. It's the wrong spot to draw this, basically. And this just generates way too much value. Now that I've scrolled down. That was worst case scenario. Scrub winning an Elspin, I think. Maybe Arcane is worse, but scrub plus anything essentially was worst case. Because it shuts down my flare. Which means I do have to kill that. Need one more creature. Alright, well. I made it as close as possible. No. Yeah. Yeah. They were actually playing that? Okay. Oh, that sucks. I don't know if I still need footage. I mean, showing off. I need to check the length. I guess I don't really care how long the vid is, honestly. I don't know. I don't like this matchup against Esper at all. So it was about 15 minutes. And the first match was about 13 minutes. I don't know. Oh, you want to show the Esper match? I guess I could. If you enjoy my content and would like to help me keep making it, consider joining my Patreon, where you'll gain access to a bunch of bonus videos, written sideboard guides, metagame tier lists, so for standard best of 3, for example, ranking all the decks, some game theory guides, as well as deck building guides, and other services depending on the tier, of course. Thank you to all the lovely patrons that are already subscribed, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one.